Hello everyone, I'm Lewis the Logical Lion.
And I'm Shirley the Skeptic, and I am skeptical of the Bible's teaching that Jesus rose from the dead. I don't think it happened.
So what do you think happened?
I think Jesus never existed in the first place. At least that's what all my atheist friends tell me, and they're smart. Besides, I really like the idea that Jesus was just a myth.
You and every other skeptic, but I'm pleased to report that Jesus was undeniably a real person. The New Testament provides unanimous eyewitness testimony of his ministry, crucifixion, and resurrection.
But that's in the Bible, and anything in the Bible can't possibly be true.
Really? And you criticize Christians for having presuppositions.
Well, the point is that nobody outside of the Bible ever wrote about Jesus. So there.
Wrong again, Shirley the Skeptic. Many non-Christian historians wrote about Jesus. For example, Tacitus wrote, Christus suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilate. In fact, the majority of scholars, even skeptics, primarily agree that Jesus was crucified. His disciples believed he had risen. Jesus' half-brother James was converted. The church's enemy Saul was converted, and that the tomb was empty. So you see, Shirley the Skeptic, Jesus' existence is indisputable. The only thing people can't seem to agree on is whether he rose from the dead.
But I read somewhere that early Christians just copied their beliefs off of ancient Egyptian religions. I mean, there are tons of myths of pagan gods dying and rising from the dead.
Really? Care to provide documentation for that?
No, I don't.
That's 'cause you can't. Contrary to many atheists' claims, no pagan religion prior to Jesus' day had any god similar to Jesus. But even if old myths really did resemble Christianity, that doesn't discredit the historical evidence for the crucifixion and resurrection. If Jesus' disciples just made up the whole thing, why would they be willing to suffer torture and execution for something they knew was a lie? And why did Saul convert? He was an enemy of the church, and if the church was based on a lie, he definitely would have kept persecuting it. The only thing that explains his transformation is his encounter with the risen Lord.
Now wait a minute! Maybe Jesus really did exist, and maybe he really died, and maybe the disciples were convinced that he rose again, and maybe Saul and James converted, and maybe the tomb really was empty. But that doesn't mean Jesus rose from the dead.
Gee, Shirley the Skeptic, if evidence won't convince you, why do you even bother asking for it?
You are so anti-intellectual!
Say what?
Well, that's the best response that atheists have come up with. When a Christian proves you wrong, throw insults at him!
Ah, nice technique.
Thank you.
You know, Shirley the Skeptic, your complete refusal to change your beliefs, regardless of the evidence against your position, actually coincides with what the Bible says about you skeptics.
It does?
Yep. In Luke 16:31, Jesus said, If they do not hear Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rise from the dead. What do you say to that?
I say that I'm gonna go read some books by smart atheists.